Disclaimer. Please note that we experienced some audio issues during this podcast recording, and we apologize for any inconvenience. We strive for the best quality, but sometimes technical glitches happen. We hope you enjoy this content.
Wanting things to go your way is an egotistical mindset. Remind yourself that. Wanting something, because you got to know everything's not, it's going to play exactly the way it should be played, not the way you want it to be played.
Yeah. If you just constantly just scrolling and seeing it, you're doing yourself a disservice when in those minutes you scrolling, wishing you had this, wishing you had that, you can be focused on your own journey, overcoming your own challenges so you can be the one posting the bad, you can be the one posting the success.
What is going on, guys? It's your boy BG, and welcome to the Unknown Minds podcast, where the unknown mind isn't so known. And I guess I got a good brother here that was here at the way from the beginning. I think when we did that was probably like our second podcast, bro. We was talking about meditation. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that was second, third podcast. I don't even know.
It was early though, 2021.
Yeah, it was. Damn, and it's crazy. It's literally been like 2-3 years for sure. Yeah. So. And now look, we already got a decent setup. I got 2 iPhones over here operating at its maximum right now. And I don't know how the way I want to go about this. I want to really bring up the conversation topic of just about being present, because I feel like we live in a fast-paced society.
Absolutely.
We live in a fast-paced society where it's like literally hard as hell to be present at all times.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we try to operate off instant gratification, trying to follow behind other people, not knowing that you're not being present where you're at, because you're focused on someone else's presence.
Mm-hmm. Everybody got distractions. Everybody got commitments, but not too many people, especially if we be honest, people of this skin tone know how to just sit down, relax, collect themselves, quiet their mind. So we giving people something like that, I think we could really change some things, bro.
I think that's where it all starts first, bro. If you're never present, you can never see what God has for you in the moment. Mm. And I think that stays true to whatever situation you're in, because when you become present, you see the opportunities in what's going on, and you are comfortable with what's going on. Not saying that you don't want to change your circumstances, but you are all right with what's going on, and then now you're adjusting. Well, first you're overseeing what it is, you observing what it is, then you adjusting to what it is, what's going on, and then you take action, and then you overcome. I think that's literally the process of present.
Yeah.
And so before we really get into it, I know I literally just started going off before you actually gave your introduction. Please introduce yourself.
What's good? It's Q Green, Q.Green, Quincy Green, Quincy, whatever you want to call me. In here with my boy BG, man. Appreciate you for having me, bro. I've been rocking with him since he first started for real, 2021. So to see the setup, to see the growth, to see the vision, honestly, ain't do nothing but turn me up, bro. So I appreciate you for having me, man, and I hope we can give people something good.
Yeah, man, because I feel like one of the reasons why I wanted you on this podcast, I feel like out of a lot of people that I've hung around, no offense to them, you know what I'm saying? This is no like this and not like that to them, but like with the conversations we used to have, from you still doing your thing, like that motion hasn't even stopped. And some real shit. That motion hasn't even stopped. And because that motion haven't even stopped, it's because you've always been present. Yeah. And I was like, man, I really want to talk about presence. And I was like, I was gonna run it by myself, but I feel like it's so much better to run it with someone who's in that same state of mind of being present, or just in a consistent learning of being present. And so I got my iPhone. I usually don't have my iPhone on me, but I want to become more organized as a podcaster. So I did some personal research myself to try to elevate myself as a podcaster, become a better host, and making sure that, when we talk about these topics, we also giving out valuable information. We also giving relatable information. So we're not just going to be just coming out here just talking about shit. And because we did research or whatever. I mean, research is good, but most people gonna listen to you if you actually been through the actual personal experience.
Life experiences, for sure.
And every day is a life experience. Every day you could be learning something new. You know what I'm saying? You become present, you know what you need to learn on, what you need to focus on.
Yeah.
And so, first things first, out of these questions I got, babe.
I know you got some heat now.
No, yeah. Oh, it's a lot. I mean, I gave you a little bit of, we already had a pre-podcast yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
We preview.
We a little preview. We did a little, you know what I'm saying, a little snippet. I wish I could have just. It's a lot of times, a lot of phone conversations that we had. I was like, damn, I wish I should record this shit. You know what I'm saying? But first things first, what does it mean to be present, and why is it important in our daily lives?
So being present, honestly, you can get there differently. Different people will get to a state of presence differently, but at the end of the day, the meaning is the same. When you're present, you're aware of how you feel, you're aware of your emotions, you're aware of your thoughts, you're paying attention to them. So when you're present, it's a lot easier, not even just to deal with problems, but to navigate through life in itself. If you're going throughout the course of your day, but you constantly thinking about the past, you constantly thinking about the future, that's not being present. Being in your state of presence allows you to really focus on now, honestly, like the book, The Power of Now, that allows you to really just focus on what's going on in this present moment.
You know, I had to put this book up. Yeah, The Power of Now, this is something I went over myself. I had listened to the audio book of this. I have not read the physical copy. I had a physical copy for God knows how long. I just never got a chance to fully actually read the physical book. But instead I went on here and bought the audio book, so I recommend this. You could find this on Apple Podcasts. And shout out to Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
Hopefully I pronounce his name right, because this is actually an amazing book that talks about being present and gives you so many biblical descriptions of what they talk about in the Bible of those of us who are religious. You know what I'm saying? Those of us who you don't have to be religious to be present. That's for one. You do not have to be religious to be present. You just got to understand what presence means and how presence affect your day-to-day activities. Because if you're not present, then you're not focusing on what you can do now to become whoever you want to become in the future. Because you got to remind yourself, if you want to be, let's just say, top 10 podcasts in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my goals I put on my goal board upstairs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Becoming a top 10, one of the top 10 self-development podcasts in the world, right? I don't even need to be top number one.
Why not?
It's like, as long as I impact people, that's what matters to me most. As long as when people come on this podcast and they listen to this podcast, they know they're going to get some gems out of it. They know they're going to get some type of my energy. Because energy is everywhere, even if you listen to a phone. Why do you think most people listen to music and they generate the same energy that they listen to the music?
Yeah, that energy transfers, for sure.
I mean, no one would be cool. You know what I'm saying? I can fuck with that. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be tough. But this literally, as it says on the title, The Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment. It's really a great book. Highly recommend it. Like this, and then some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about is going to be based on some of the principles in this book. I'm not going to lie. Like, after I went through this book a few times, after I listened to the whole audio book, there is still a lot of gems that I have to refurbish on and go back to this book. Now, if I want to really be quite honest, what I can do is give you just some chapter titles to let people know, like, what you probably going to be dealing with. Of course, I want to tell people, go read the goddamn book. I ain't going to break this down for you, but nah, you're gonna read the book.
Yeah,
you're gonna read the book. I think it's gonna be definitely a very great self-development book for people who have anxiety, depression. Helps you to more so not fight it, but more so understand it. Because fighting something is resisting it, and resisting it causes restriction, and restriction causes emotional discomfort.
And also, not even just with that book, but just with this whole, if you want to call it, spiritual journey in itself. That book specifically is a difficult read the first time if this is the beginning of, you feel me, your personal development, your spiritual growth journey. That is a deep book, and it's going to be a lot of times. I read it for the third time this past week. There's so many times I found myself. Yeah. Not 3 times in 1 week.
I'm like, you definitely marched across that for sure.
But when you going into books like that, it's going to be a lot of times you'll read some information, and mind you, this is your brain's first time processing it. So when it's your first time processing something, it might not be, oh, bet I'm present. All of a sudden, I read this great book one time, now I'm present for the rest of my life. Promise you, it's not going to be that way at all. But it's a journey, it's a process. Every day is practice. If you play a sport every day, you get in the gym, you get on the field, you get in the weight room, that's practice. Every day you meditate, you reading something, you listening to the right information, that's practice towards presence. So when you read something like that, or you start this journey and it's tough to you at first, like you're having a hard time being present, why am I thinking like this? Why am I thinking like that? If you get discouraged, that's only going to prolong the process. You got to understand that all this is new. You 25, 26, you got 26 years built up. If you never meditated before, you've never taken the time to attempt to read something like that, haven't really gotten too connected with God outside of going to church. And it's like, we got all these years of just stuff, trauma, stress to get off of us. So it ain't going to be easy at first. You're going to be like, man, I meditated, I ain't feel nothing. I read this book, I'm still tripping.
Man, I still got shit going on.
You feel me? So you just gotta be patient and understand this whole process is a journey, bro.
And I know I actually cut you off because you was explaining your I don't know if you finished your definition of presence, what presence means to you.
Yeah.
You can continue on that because I think I don't know if I did cut you off. If I did, my apologies.
No, you good.
So back to what we was talking about, what is your definition of presence? I have another question I want to ask that was based off of what you just said, because it was a question I was going to ask, and you kind of like already said some of it already. I was like, let me go ahead. We're going to refurbish that. But what is your definition of presence to you?
Yeah. So my definition of presence is, I think I said it a little bit earlier, just being aware of your thoughts, being aware of your actions, and honestly, on the deepest level, being aware of your true self and what's really inside. Understanding that, okay, God made me. I might be going through these little earthbound problems, these little material, physical problems, but at the end of the day, you're good. And like, that sounds so cliche. Oh, just think positive, this, that. But if you really stick with that, regardless of whatever type of financial hardship, physical pain, emotional turmoil you going through, I promise you're going to feel so much better on a day-to-day basis than if you just, oh, why am I going through this? Oh, I don't have the power. You speaking down to yourself. But if you claiming God and he made you, what's the problem? What's the problem?
You know what you just said, right? You say cliches. The thing about cliches is most cliches are true.
And that's the crazy
part. That's the crazy part. Right, we downplay cliches, but most cliches be accurate as hell. And then the thing that we don't take heat because we say, oh, it's just a cliche. We look at it like tell a nigga a basic joke.
Yeah.
Like a corny pickup line. You know what I'm saying? I heard that before. But a lot of those cliches usually are the cliches that you have to take seriously. Not seriously, but
apply to see what happens.
Apply to see what happens.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
You know, and yes, and it was something that you said earlier about being 25, 26. And we live in a day and age that if you don't have it by 25, you ain't shit.
Supposedly.
So what are your thoughts about that? How can someone move past this social dilemma of you don't have it at 25, 26, or you're not pushing P, you know what I'm saying, in your early years?
Right.
You feel me? How can you tell those individuals to become more present? Because it's like, it's hard to live in a fast-paced world where, you know, you see all these people elevate because we in a day and age where information is so accessible. People becoming millionaires and billionaires just like that. Yeah. And so you look at these people, and social media has become a very, you could say, it demonizes presence. Social media demonizes presence because you focus on other people's accolades and their things that they have accomplished, but because social media makes everything look black and white. It's a lot of gray in between that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It is.
You might see one day a person might pop up and say, yo, I done made this amount of money and had this amount of, let's just say, real estate properties, or my stocks has made me a millionaire, or I've done a lot of options trading and made millions of dollars off this. And when they first posted on social media, it may look like they just got it in one day if they disappeared for a long period of time. That's not the case. Those people have actively worked without you knowing. Delayed gratification. Yeah. That's what we need to talk about, like delayed gratification. So back to, because I think I answered the question, but I want to know your thoughts on like, just for people our age and our age group that feel like they're not doing enough, or that's another question I'm gonna ask. But now I got questions rolling and stuff like that. But yeah, what do you got to say for like 25, 26, 20-year-olds? What is your advice for 20-year-olds to be present? Not even 20, because you can be present. You have to work on presence even if you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, even 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
Presence is something that is always ongoing work.
Yeah, you can't put an age on
it. You can't put an age on it. So what do you say about at least our generation of people who isn't present, who always focus on other people's accolades and their abilities for those people that succeed? How do you feel about those people? Damn it.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I know it sounds like I'm running because I'm trying to think and process it. I'm trying to let it flow out, but I'm also trying to make it make sense to the people who. Let's refurbish this question real quick. Let's refurbish. All right, let's refurbish. What advice do you have for 25 and 26-year-olds who's in a society of a fast-paced society and working to be present?
I think above all, this specifically to social media for 1 second. Above all, if social media isn't paying you, if social media is not how you fund yourself, how you fund your life, you have to minimize the time. If you get paid from social media, that's great. You should still minimize it anyway. But especially if you scrolling for free, if you posting stuff for free right now, you don't got no business to be scrolling on there all day. I'm not saying don't use it, but you have to minimize it because like you said on social media, you see so much. You see dudes in the league, Jason Tatum, 24, 25 million. Jaylen Brown graduated
380 million, bro.
Millions, a bag. You seeing that, you doing whatever you doing, it's like, dang, I want that life. You see everything you see on Instagram. Y'all see it, you on it every day. You know the people see it. So it's just like, okay, that can be what you want, and you can use that even as motivation. If you really real, you can screenshot it, go to Walgreens and put it on your vision board, for real. If you really want to get like that and use it as motivation that way. But if you just constantly just scrolling and seeing it, you're doing yourself a disservice when in those minutes you scrolling, wishing you had this, wish you had that, you can be focused on your own journey, overcoming your own challenges so you can be the one posting the bag. You can be the one posting the success. But like too often we get down on, oh, this didn't go my way. I didn't get the call. I didn't get the contract. I didn't get the job, whatever it is. And you go on Instagram, you see other people winning. Now you feel even further down. And at that point, you're stuck in the past. Now you're not even being present. You're reflecting on, oh, why they got this? Why I don't got that? I'm better than them. I feel like I should be this. I feel like I should be that. And it's just like a constant cycle. And you just keep bringing yourself further down, further down, further down, further down.
That shit turned into a rabbit hole, bro.
And that's exactly what it is. And so many people haven't been taught the tools necessary to get out of that rabbit hole. So the tools really to answer the question, aside from minimizing social media, tools I've used specifically over the past few years: meditation, journaling, reading, and we'll call it reprogramming. We'll call it reprogramming your mind, being conscious of what you're listening to, whether that's music, audio books, seminars, lectures, podcasts. Doing all of those things,
or people you listen to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a great
like your surroundings, who you're surrounded by, because
that's a great
majority of your mind is going to be molded by who you're surrounding yourself
by your
with.
environment. That's a fact.
Right. So
that's a fact, bro.
Now continue.
Yeah, but I think personally, I put meditation at the top of the list. Like if you're not feeling it at all, if you don't want to work out, you don't want to read, you don't want to listen to nothing, you don't want to talk to nobody, you don't do nothing else, you should meditate. Like at least 5 minutes. For myself, the benefits, the list is very long. The list is very, very long. But I think above all, the biggest benefits I've reached for myself, the top two, honestly, are self-awareness and confidence. With those two things, you can do anything. I promise you can do anything. If you got self-awareness and you got confidence, I haven't even talked about the business knowledge. I haven't talked about anything else. But if you start with those two and go from there, you can do anything. And then, like I said, you'll be the one showing your results, showing your success, because of the time you took to change your inside. If you're self-aware enough to say, okay, I know I need to work on this, or okay, I know I can do that better, then you you already took a step. So imagine you do that every day. Then before, you was bringing yourself down, comparing, talking about, I don't got this, I don't got that. Now you're starting to rise up because you're taking the right action. But if you don't never come to that consistent action, it's going to be tough. Like, it's going to get really hard out here. You're going to wonder why. But it's so often, man, we can be our own worst enemy and be so oblivious to it, not even realize that we the ones fucking up our own life. When the whole time, 99% of the time, our life is messed up because we made it that way with our thoughts, with our actions.
I'm gonna follow up on that because it's so crazy you said that, because I literally had a quote that literally bounced in my head. Remind you, I didn't write it down, but good thing I remember. I was, before I came downstairs, of course, you know, I want to make sure for myself that, you know, I'm getting on a podcast. I do have a skincare routine. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I like to boast about it because, like, taking care of yourself boosts, like, numerous parts of your life. That could be a mental, like, you got to take care of yourself, bro. Like, doing a skincare routine, getting up. I told you what I be doing already. I showed it. I Slim went up in my room. I showed him my board. I showed him my list of what I do on a daily basis. I get up 5 a.m. I go in the gym. I pray, of course. I pray. I show gratitude. I have a gratitude board. I had to split it, put it underneath one of my goals. I had to make his own little box for myself to show what I'm grateful for today. At least I'm mindful of what I'm writing in early in the morning, because your subconscious mind is more so exposed when you get up early in the morning. As soon as you get up and as soon as you go to bed.
Go to sleep. Yes, sir.
So when you're showing that signs of gratitude, you become present. Now, how does gratitude shows how present you are? How does gratitude help you become more present?
So when you're grateful for what's going on right now, you're not concerned about the interview tomorrow. You're not concerned about the call you got to make. You're not concerned about the argument you got into yesterday. You're not concerned about whatever happened at work the day before. When you're grateful for what's going on in this present moment, you automatically raise your vibration and you raise your awareness to a higher level. So in order for you to be present, in order for you to be aware, if you're throwing negativity at it, then that's just it's going to drift your mind back and forth. But if you're grateful and you're positive about what's going on, that's when presence becomes easier. You can't really be negative and present at the same time. I don't think
that's
you
a
can.
bar.
And that's tough. I know so many people hear that and be like, I don't know, you might get into a car accident, God forbid, something happened to your people, you hurt your leg, like, you're going to be like, damn, this hurts so bad, I'm this, I'm that. Then you start talking down again. But it's like, and we've all been through something where it was just unbearable for real. But it's like, if you can do the absolute best you can every day to be like, okay, this too shall pass. Okay, I see why this might have happened. Then it's like you again taking steps to raise yourself up. But you have to be grateful and appreciative for what's going on in this present, because that's all you have. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. Yesterday's done. So it's like, what you gonna choose? Anything else is backwards, honestly.
That's a fact.
All we got is right now. You can want tomorrow all day, but if it don't get here,
yeah, I mean, what you looking forward to? You know what I'm saying? It's good. It's good to, you know, look forward to the future, but the present moment is your future. You gotta recognize that. Like, every choice you take, every choice you make is, the future hasn't been created. The future hasn't been created yet, but your actions create that future. And so your actions is determined on this present moment. And so when you start moving along with the present moment, you start being mindful of every action that you do in every single moment, because you know that every single moment counts.
Yeah.
Right?
I like that.
And so now every step you take, if you don't know what steps you're taking as you look down from the soles of your feet, you don't know what direction you're going.
Yeah. And a lot of people get lost unintentionally. And what I mean by that is you go through something, whether, for me, it was a career-ending, crazy sports injury. I didn't intend for that to happen, but after that happened, I didn't have the awareness or honestly the guidance on, hey, you should try this. Okay, maybe you should do this instead. So it's like, I'm looking down at my own feet and I'm walking into all the wrong places. Like, I get to tripping because I'm not aware enough. At the time, I wasn't aware enough to really be like, okay, let me pivot my life in this direction. Let me go this way and see how I can start a new life. But like you said, if you just looking down and you lost, you don't know what you're doing, it gets tough again. We keep making it hard on ourselves.
You gotta remind yourself, bro. If you stand up right now and if you start walking, look down at your feet, it's gonna keep looking the same way every time you walk. Until you look up and see the view that's in front of you, then you start to see what direction you're going.
Okay.
You get it right now, you walk, the floor might change, but you don't know where the hell direction you're going. All you see is your feet just going straight. You going left, it's still going straight. Going right, it's still going straight. It's all looking the same, whatever direction you're going, until you lift your head up and you look forward. Then you can see where your direction is going. Because a lot of times we have unhealthy habits that demotes us from pushing forward into the desired goal that we want. And I want to remind people, like, being present. Well, thinking ahead is not such a bad thing. I'm gonna be honest. It's not such a bad thing because it identifies a direction.
Pros and cons.
It's pros and cons. It's not a bad thing, but it's not a good thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing.
I think it depends on the person.
Yeah, right.
And their own thought patterns.
That's a fact. I think for most people, if you think of the future too much, you're creating a needy emotional attachment to it. Where if it doesn't go your way, then you're completely broken.
Right.
That's the problem. Yeah. That's the problem. You're thinking, if I don't make this by this time, it's over. You know what I'm saying? And so now you're not thinking present. And so when that time does come and whatever you want don't go your way, and remind you that wanting things to go your way is an egotistical mindset. Remind yourself that. Wanting something, because you got to know everything's not, it's going to play exactly the way it should be played, not the way you want it to be played.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Wanting things to go your way is you trying to control everything. That's an egotistical mindset. That's the ego. I want to control this. I want to make this. I want to do this way. So this can happen this way. 99.9% of the time, bro, life is not going to give you those easy little tosses where, oh, you got a plan? Okay, well, I see you working on it, but I'm going to throw this in the way. Let's see if you're going to keep doing what you're doing now. It's going to test you and see if you can adjust and reroute and overcome, as we talked about.
Yeah.
Adjust. You scale what's going on, then you adjust to what's going on. You can come up with a plan what's going on, then action, and then you overcome it. That is the purpose of presence. You got to remind yourself, being present is also showing up. When you need to show up, bro. Like, we was on the phone. I was telling you about this yesterday, right? Your best ability is your availability. Being able to show up, that's all you need. You get up, you don't feel like going to that goddamn gym. But when you're in that gym, you're in there. When you're in that gym, you're in there. Yeah. And when you do your first workout, everything else gonna flow. Because you showed up, you came.
Yeah, and you gotta really show up for yourself every day, somehow, some way. Like, it may not always be working out, it may not always be meditating, but at the same time, you have to do something that's moving you in that direction. So in the future, you'll be able to say, okay,
I did this, that, and the third.
Straight like that.
I know I'm living my life because of the choices and the sacrifices that I made in the present moments that I used to live in. Your present moments you used to live in was technically 5 minutes ago when we just started our conversation. Now we just feeding off of what we were just previously talking about. This is what's involved in the conversation the way it is. Yeah. You gotta look at life in the same way. The minute you start something, the minute you start rolling with something and you become present in that moment, then you start realizing what you need to improve in that moment. And then you make the adjustments. Yeah. You make the adjustments. Right? So, you know what's crazy? I had not used this phone for no questions yet. That's crazy. And I still got a whole load of it. So now I got another question for you. And I feel like this is something that I've personally struggled with a few times. When we try to, my voice cracked like shit. You know what I'm saying? When we try to become so present or we're in motion so much, we go through this thing called imposter syndrome. And that was something that I was suffering for a while. You know, it was like an in and out thing for me because I wasn't present. And I've started to realize that now. Imposter syndrome is when someone feels like they're in a position to give people knowledge, but they feel like they're not the example of their knowledge. And so now you feel like an imposter. You feel like you're someone that hasn't done what's necessary for people to listen to. Although you are doing it, most people want to listen to your results. And so to those who struggle with imposter syndrome, take a deep breath, bro. Like, sis, whoever looking at this, like, take a deep breath, present yourself in this moment. Remind yourself. Also, I think a big key to that was I didn't have any of my goals written down. That was another thing too. So I was doing positive habits, but without a positive direction of where I'm going.
You got to see the vision.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I think that was like one of the biggest things. So I was a few podcasts, like, you talk about financial literacy. I talk about financial literacy, some podcasts, because that's a part of self-development. All that is under that, at that time when I was speaking up a lot about self-development and things of that nature, it was like, I'm financially struggling. Although I am investing, but I'm like, damn, I'm financially struggling. I'm telling people how to be financially literate where I'm still working with the punches right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm still working with the punches, and it feel like at times I feel like I wasn't in a position to tell people how to be financially literate. So I started having self-limiting beliefs in myself. I started saying like, well, fuck, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, I don't know. I started panicking. I'm gonna be honest. I started panicking. I sat in the car. I think one time I was talking to a young lady at one point in time. I was in the car like, I'm losing my shit. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck going on here. I was like, I don't know. I started panicking because work, for one, you can be literally overstimulated by so much shit going on.
And a lot overstimulation. Let's talk about that for a second.
Overstimulation is crazy,
especially now where we all got a phone. It not always goes back to social media, but these days specifically, a lot of it goes back to social media because that's where the overstimulation is coming from. You wake up, not myself, but you feel me? Majority of people.
Yeah.
You wake up, you scroll. All right, get ready for work, do whatever you do, go to work. You got this in your ear, that in your ear, you got to do this, got to do that. You probably don't feel like being at your job, so then it's like now you negative damn near. So it's like, I bet you leave work. What do you do? Scroll. Breaks. What do you do? Scroll. And like, if you're not really monitoring who you're scrolling or what you're looking at, then that rabbit hole gets deep because you can go on TikTok. You could see, man,
everything, bro.
You can see a Kobe highlight. You could see a life insurance post. You could see a girl shaking her ass. You might see anything.
Man, don't get me started on that, bro. So, those things creep up on you.
So it's just like you got to be mindful of what you're looking at, bro, because overstimulation is a real thing. And when you do feel overstimulated, it's so important that you just stop. Like whatever you're doing that's making you feel overstimulated, just stop. Do something else. Do something more constructive. And I feel like while some people might not be fully present, fully aware at all times. And let's be real, not nobody, but that's a tough place to get to be fully present and fully aware 100% of the time. That's why I say it's practice, it's a journey. But for those people that aren't, you have to be so cautious of what you're looking at and when to stop. Because once you can say, okay, I feel overstimulated, let me just read instead. Let me put my phone down. Let me work out. Let me call somebody who I know can give me a constructive conversation. And that starts to change things. But while you're just stuck in overstimulation all day, every single day, it's just like.
All right. Well, as you said that, then what are signs of a person being overstimulated?
I think stress is the number one sign of overstimulation. And it'll be stress. You might be like, why do I feel like this? You might not even know why you're stressed. In your mind, you might be having a good day. But the whole time, you looking at your phone so much, you looking at TV so much, Netflix, Hulu, whatever it is, you looking at it all day. You taking in all these different energies. You putting it on yourself. And if you're not already meditating, reading, doing things to correct your energy, then it's like you just taking on the world and you making it hard on yourself once again.
That's a fact. Your mind be so busted and you won't even know you're busted.
Yeah.
Like, you won't even know it, and you'll start to recognize it when it accumulates.
Until it's too late.
Yeah, until it's too late, bro. You start to realize you start getting sick because disease is dis-ease. Mm-hmm. Dis-ease, the dis-easement of the mind, of the body, and that's when you cause disease.
Yeah.
So it's like,
That's a fact.
Once when the mind goes into flight or flight mode, that body follows that same rhythm of that mind. And then that flight or flight mode starts causing anxiety. It starts causing the depression. It starts causing like these energies you done accumulated, not only from what you've been seeing and what you've been looking at, but who you've been around. Because you might go to work with a bunch of people in there don't even want to be in there. And that energy rubs off on you so tough because you don't recognize your own frequency. You don't recognize the own frequency you operating off of, and so you start intaking other people's frequency.
That's a dangerous place.
That's a dang, bro. That's literally like I found myself doing that a few times too.
You and me both. I think if anybody's watching this and they've ever worked a job they didn't want to be at, I guarantee they've took that in, knowingly or unknowingly. They don't even.
I feel like you take that in when you don't have a direction.
Yeah,
you take that in for sure when you don't have a direction because it's feel like you're working for nothing.
Yeah, and I felt like that definitely a lot when I was younger, when I was working just jobs in between, didn't want to be there, just trying to stack some bread while I'm home from school. Like, but I'm in there and I'm just like, man, I don't want to be here. Like, everybody else around me giving that same energy, and it's contagious, bro. Like,
energy's contagious. We don't recognize how energy and frequency work, bro. You could get lost in it. When you don't recognize how energy and frequency works, bro, you get lost in it. And you gotta recognize too, like we live in a society like a lot of unnecessary energy is being tossed in between individuals on a regular basis. It's a disease. Literally, bro. It's like regular. You might go on Instagram, you might see somebody get offed.
You really might though.
You know what I'm saying? But you see how dangerous Twitter is. And hey, Elon, thank you for taking that goddamn bird off of Twitter. That motherfucker turned into X. Somebody need to cook that goddamn bird. All that shit that was on Twitter, bro. Yeah, all that crazy shit that was on Twitter. The over sexualization of women. Women being over sexualized. All that shit. Thank God, Elon, you cooked that goddamn bird. That bird did not need to be on there no more.
Yeah, the social media sites, man.
Yeah, it gets crazy. Like, you can find yourself in the worst parts of social media. There's a good parts and there's the worst parts. The good parts is the things that's involving you, and the worst parts are the things that's deteriorating. It's sapping you of your energy. And you got to be able to be a high-level observer. Be able to observe it. Like, you got to understand. You got to be see the difference between a high-level observer and a low-level observer. The high-level observer controls what they see, and the low-level observer be controlled by what they see. There's a difference. There's a difference when you observe what's the fuck out. That's a highlight right there, boy. That's a highlight right there, boy. Yeah, man. Like, you got to be able to be a high-level observer, bro. You got to be able to see what you're paying attention to on a regular basis. You got to pay attention to your habits. You got to pay attention to your conversations. You got to most importantly pay attention to your thoughts. You got to pay attention to every aspect of your life. That's health, your finances, your social life, because those, remind you, I said social life, financial life, your health. Those are all life. And those all are part of you. And so when you're not scanning each one of those categories, because one category can fuck up everything else.
Especially the health category. If you don't have your optimal health, proper health, if you don't feel good, mental health, yes, if you don't feel good on a consistent basis, if you're not eating the right food, if you're smoking all the time, drinking all the time, let me rephrase that though, because personally, I don't think weed is bad at all. But once you get to mixing weed with the nicotine and the tobacco and the woods and the vapes and all that other stuff, that's when things.
I think weed is not a bad thing. I think the intentions of using weed is the bad thing.
If you're using it with the wrong intent, if you're not aware while you're smoking, if you're just, how can I explain it? All right, bet we about to go out. We going to the club. We smoking the wood. We getting right. We drinking. There's no
getting right usually mean getting wrong.
Exactly. You getting wrong. How you getting wrong? There's no mindfulness in that. But all right, bet if I'm smoking, I'm listening to an audio book. I'm driving. I'm visualizing something positive. If you're an artist, you about to create a song. That's from a place of being constructive. You're conscious, you're aware, and you're smoking with intention to feel better, to go to a higher place, somewhere that you can get to while you're sober. But it's a little bit harder to get there while you're sober. For some people, it takes time. But if you're smoking with the right intent, I don't. See
I think for some people it's difficult for them because they don't know how to go into a flow state.
Mm,
they don't know how to
absolutely.
They don't know how to go into a flow state, and I think most people they use marijuana to run away from the problem that they're dealing with in life.
Yeah,
majority of the time, like people don't.
Valid.
Most people don't smoke weed because sometimes like what's this guy Estrado Investments. He a weed smoker, but he smoked weed.
Oh, Aristotle.
Aristotle. He smoked weed after he accomplished something. He said, "All right, he a stoner. He a serious stoner. he rolling the J in his Zoom calls and all that. He a serious stoner, but he still have a productive life. Yeah. I'm pretty sure weed probably is 10 minutes out of that man's day.
Yeah.
10, 20 minutes out of that man's day.
You gotta know how to use it, bro. It's a tool, honestly. I think weed is a tool. Once you abuse it, though, and you use it with the wrong intent, then it's hindering you. Then it's a distraction. Then it's an addiction. You feel me? So it's just knowing how to balance it all.
On some real shit, I'm telling you, I'm actually going to say this. I'm probably going to do a future podcast on it. When you said, like, weed is a tool, it also makes me want to think about psychedelics.
The biggest tool. That's a different conversation.
That's a different conversation. That's a different because psychedelics has a bad connotation because you have man-made psychedelics, and man-made psychedelics is LSD. Isn't it LSD? I think is man. I think LSD is man-made.
Psilocybin is natural.
Yeah, psilocybin is natural. You gotta remind yourself when you eat psilocybin, you're eating the Earth's brain.
Yeah. We ain't even gonna get into that.
But psychedelics is a hell of a. They call it a drug, but once again, that's a future podcast.
Yeah,
I don't know how soon I'm gonna make that. I think that would be. That would be the shit. I ain't gonna lie, that would be the shit talking about psychedelics. But back at what we was talking about again. I lost track, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm very impressed of the. Thank God we lit that sage, we lit that incense. Yeah, it feels so smooth.
The vibe
is fire. I'm not gonna lie, the vibe is fire.
Sage is essential, bro. Definitely.
Now, what I'm finna do right now, I got a question. So luckily, like I said, I've literally you literally see all these damn questions, bro.
Oh yeah.
But I ain't even gonna get to all these. But I know this is enough to literally go on at least 3 podcasts. But we gonna get as much as we can.
Yeah.
Can you discuss the connection between being present and improving a relationship with others?
Great question.
Great. Yes. Yes. Let's get into it.
I'll use my relationship honestly. So being present. I'm sorry. Restate that question one more time, bro.
I got you, big homie. I got you. I said, can you discuss the connection between being present and improving a relationship with others?
Improving relationships with others. Right, got you. So when you're in a relationship, whether that's, you feel me, intimate relationship or just a friendship, you have to be present in order to understand where the other person is coming from. So if you're listening to somebody, if you going back and forth with your girl, you're just trying to get your point across, but you're not really hearing her, the conversation is going nowhere.
Hold that thought.
Yeah.
Hold that thought right there. That is a negative self-expression, people. That's a negative self-expression. Also, dismissing someone before you can truly understanding someone is a negative self-expression. That is a negative self-expression. Being passive-aggressive is a negative self-expression. We talked about it yesterday. About being passive-aggressive, not actually stating what your true feelings are, about when someone does something and you just literally brush the shit off. That's passive-aggressive. I'm going to be honest. Like, I had struggled with that a few times trying to be, because I don't want to sound like no ass. I'm very respectful to people majority of the time.
Yeah.
But being passive-aggressive can affect your mental space a lot, your mental and emotional space, because as you tend to become passive-aggressive all the time, it literally hinders you from learning how to be able to self-express yourself and your emotions properly and communicating with the people that you're around. Because if you have a problem with something, you won't go at it directly. It's okay, but I really wanted to
let it continue.
But knowing in your mind, it's eating you alive. That's a negative self-expression. Good self-expression, you said it earlier, was journaling. Being able to write your thoughts down, being able to be conscious of what you're thinking about on a regular basis. So I'm gonna hold my thought. Back to what you were saying about being present can help you to more so understand another person in the present moment.
Yeah. So
just to refresh that,
being present in a relationship, again, intimate relationship or just a friendship, you have to listen. Like the past couple of years, I caught myself saying 2 ears, 1 mouth for a reason. Like everybody want to be heard, but nobody wants to listen. Like everybody wants to hear they self-talk, or they want to feel their feelings being expressed, but the other person might not be willing to listen because they just want to do the same thing. They just want to express themselves. They just want to hear them self-talk. So when one person's present and the other person's not, whether that's male or female, it's not going to go well. The conversation isn't going to go well. Then it leads to an argument. Then it's a disagreement. Then you're frustrated, you're mad, you're confused. And it's like, if you're taking the time to say, okay, you know what? Let me just listen to what she's talking about. Let me just hear what he got to say.
Well, yeah, let me just listen. Let me understand his perspective.
And just be present. But you can't truly be present and keep trying to get your point across at the same time because you're not focused on what they're saying. You're not present within the conversation. You're really present in your mind.
That's ego. Yeah, exactly. Ego. We always talk about ego is a killer, bro.
And that ego will sneak up on you. That ego will sneak up on you. But over time, you understand what's really your true self and what's really ego. But I feel like, honestly, a little bit of ego is necessary. Maybe not in relationships. I look at this more like if you're an athlete, if you, for myself personally, modeling, if you do anything where you gotta feel like, okay, I'm him. I know I'm
You gotta be him.
You gotta be humble at the same time. And that's ego. But if you're out here, you arrogant, you talking down on other people, then it's like, all right, chill out.
I think those people who are that, and if they do got that, it's because of the materialistic things, and that's ego too.
Yeah.
The ego is attachment to materialistic things, or the ego is the attachment to a position that you're in. And so when that position is stripped, when that position is stripped from you, or those materialistic things that you attach yourself to so much, which the ego does attach itself to things, minute you get stripped of that, you have no power. You gotta understand that's how ego works. And when you become present, and sometimes ego can creep up on you in the present moment. That you gotta definitely keep that 100, because you might be present and then you feel that little ego. I feel like I want to say this. But you're trying to cut the person off because I need to get this off my chest. I need to get this. I want to feel right. Ego is always trying to feel like being right. It's not about being right. It's about coming to a mutual agreement. I don't agree, but I understand.
Right. And I think that's what it is. I'm glad you said that. The understanding part more than anything. Like, just to be able to say, okay, I might not agree with that, but I understand why you did that. I understand why you thought that way. I understand why you said that. And not even being mad at that, because everybody only lives life from their own perception. So it's like, okay, I understand your perception. I see what you might have been through in the past. I know who your family is. I know who your friends are, whatever the case is. Okay, bet. I see why you think like that. And just being, like I said, just being cool with that. But if you, what am I saying? If you're not cool with that, though, you continue to attack them, then it's like, okay, there's no point.
The one thing people got to respect when you're being present, you got to respect everyone's individuality. I think that's like the number one thing. You got to respect someone that has their own way of thinking. You may not agree with their way of thinking, but you got to respect their way of thinking. Most people are like robots. They operate off of what everyone else does. They don't go about what they think or how they feel. That's why when you believe in something, and if you truly believe in what you believe in, you're going to stand on what you believe in, regardless of what anyone else say about it, but not disrespect anyone else's beliefs.
Right.
People got to understand that people feel like this negative connotation of being open-minded is a bad thing. Being open-minded is not a bad thing. Being open-minded is understanding the perspectives of someone else's world and how the way they see it. It's not, I'm open to anything and I'm just going to take in it. The problem what comes with open-mindedness is when you have an emotional attachment to someone else's response. Someone might say something you don't believe in, but you're attaching your emotions to what they're saying, and this what causes disagreements.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're attaching yourself to what they're saying because you're not respecting that person is his own individual.
Right.
That's the purpose. When you get into arguments, right? I wouldn't even say, I don't know if I want to call arguments. Because half of the times there are arguments. It don't even be arguments. Sometimes y'all literally could be saying the same thing, but y'all not listening.
Exactly.
You and the person could be saying the same thing, but from two different philosophical perspectives. Like religion. You have Islam, you got Christianity. They may say two different things in different ways. It's like learning Spanish, bro. If I say hello and hola, they sound different, but it's the same thing.
They mean the same thing.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, people be battling, but see, I don't even want to get into religion. We gonna save that for another podcast, because I do want to state this, and I feel like I got to get this off my chest, because this is what we were talking about yesterday, about, you know, religious perspectives and things of that nature. Regardless, however way people want to agree to disagree, some people think in their ego so much that they don't see the bigger picture in religion. They don't see the bigger picture of overall spirituality in general. Just because you're religious does not mean you're spiritual. You gotta keep that 100.
That's valid.
Just because you're religious does not mean you're spiritual.
Especially in the Christian community.
Especially in the Christian community.
That's very valid.
So when you're a person that's looking, spirituality is meaning that everything is interconnected. It's a broad spectrum. Islam, Confucianism, Taoism, Hinduism, Christianity, it's over 14. I only can name like 6 or 7. It's over 14. But a lot of those saying the same principles.
Right. Yeah.
But you're operating off of these religious principles as if you niggas is in a cult. If you don't believe what I believe in, I don't fuck with you.
It's gonna hurt somebody's feelings right there, boy.
Nah, that's a fact. Nigga, you're right. Bro, that's a whole cult. If you don't believe in what I believe in, I don't fuck with you. That's how a lot of religions operate.
People been killed over that, bro. It's been wars.
Hey, no, it's a super fact. It's a super fact. You know what I'm saying? Being spiritual is understanding everything is connected. Everything has life within it. Regardless, damn, my earring fell out. But everything has a significance. Yeah. Islam got truth in it. Christianity has truth in it. Confucianism has truth in it. They all have truth in it.
They all have their own truth.
Right, their own truth.
It's not just one religion of the world. Like, they all have their own version, their own interpretation of God, which is fine. I'm not
right.
You believe what you want to believe.
If it's making you a better person, by all means, continue to do that. If it's making you a better you, by all means, continue to go that direction. Yeah. Please. I'm not bashing no one's religious perspective, but you must understand that everything is connected as one. Y'all don't mind me going around, because that shit be pissing me off when people be like talking about these type of topics, because one, people have this fear of, for one, let me just make this shit clear. This is my platform. And if you don't fuck with what I'm saying, then don't listen. Let me just throw that out there. Because, see, this was the me that I couldn't incorporate months ago. But now I'm on that type of time. If you do not like what I'm saying, you'd be gladly to turn this podcast on. Please. You're not doing me any disservice, because there's people that think just like me, that act just like me, that understand that perspective, and that are open-minded about it. But we ain't even going to go into it, because I got a whole rack of shit, but this is not about religion. It does connect with being present. Of course, it connects with being present. The real thing I wanted to really state was when we talk about Christ, when we talk about religion, when I was telling you yesterday, each of these religions, they taught their teachings so you can be like them, so you can be them. Right. Let's not keep that twisted, because a lot of y'all having these self-limiting beliefs that I can't do this. Not knowing that spirit, that entity, that being is within every individual on this planet. Yeah. You gotta understand that. And so when you decide to tell yourself that I can't be that, guess who you're telling that to? God. And God is within all creation.
And if he designed you to be like him, then why not emulate that? Like, why not try to be like God? What's wrong with that?
Right. When I tell people I'm God, you're right. I'm not God, because I'm an extension of God. I'm an extension. I'm an expression of God.
It's like a mini God.
Right. I'm an expression. We all. It's like having a son, right? We have a son. Well, actually, that would be a terrible. I was trying to come up with like a good analogy. That probably would have been terrible. That's like having a roof over your head. There's 4 people in the house, but we all under the same roof. That's what God is. God is this big house, and we all in these rooms.
We all under God. Yeah, that's a fact.
And we all expressions. So
power is our power, honestly.
So like I said, when you tell yourself you can't do something, guess who you telling that to? The God that's within you. But like I said, Christ, Buddha, Confucius, all these prophets taught their systems, their teachings, so you can be exactly like them. Case closed. And I ain't gonna argue with you niggas about that, because we ain't got time for that today. We ain't got time for that today. But let's continue.
What else you got, yo?
Okay. What advice would you give to someone who struggles with staying present and living in the moment?
To stay present and live in the moment. Honestly,
it sounds like the same shit in the same question, because staying present and living in the moment is literally one of the same things.
Right.
You can have both, bro, but
I think the best advice, though, seriously, to stay present and live in the moment is to honestly just start. Once you start, whether that's starting with meditation, starting with reading, once you take that first step, okay, bet, I started. Now where do I go from here? As you grow, you'll see results. You'll see results. You'll see results. Your life will start to change. You'll build confidence. All these different things will start to happen, but you'll never gain the presence if you don't start. If you just always continue to live in the same habit, surround yourself with the same people, in the same environment, think the same thing, it's just a hamster wheel that never ends. But if you take that first step, that initiative to be like, nah, I want different for myself. I'm trying to live my life different now. I'm ready to turn up. I'm ready to get right. Y'all do what y'all do, but I'm gone. I'm about to get right myself.
Y'all be out, man. I'll be me.
So once you take that step, it's like, all right, let's go from here. That's honestly the best advice I can give to anybody is really just start, because you can have all the motivation in the world, but if you don't start, it's no point in the motivation.
I got a good pro tip. When you be you present. When you be you present.
When you be you present.
When you be you present.
Explain that.
When you be yourself. When you be authentically you're present.
Okay, yeah.
When you be authentically you're present.
Yeah.
When you allow yourself to self-express yourself as much as you can in the present moment, that's when you are your most authentic you.
Yeah, I like that.
You can never have a bad day. I'm gonna let you. We talked about this. Yeah. You can never have a bad day.
Bad moments, not bad days.
It's never like even bad moments though.
Yeah, even bad moments is a label, honestly.
Bad and good.
It's a label.
Like you gotta recognize that bad and good is judgment of the mind.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the power now for a split second.
Mm-hmm.
You are not your mind. You are not your mind, because if you are your mind, you know how to turn your mind on and turn your mind off, and most people don't know how to do that.
And that I agree with that. The way it said it in the book too, but that can get tricky for a lot of people, because it's like, okay, my life is the way it is because of the thoughts that I was thinking with my mind. So yeah, we're not our minds, but at the same time, what we use our minds for and the thoughts that we have, that creates everything.
It creates, I think. Well, that is a fact. That is a fact.
The thoughts create it all, bro.
The reason why I say you are not your mind is the fact that when you're not your mind, or when you are, let's just say you are your mind, right? Or say, well, let me just go with what I was saying. We're gonna go back to what you're saying too. Mm-hmm. So when you're not your mind, that means you're not identifying yourself with all your thoughts. Because if you identify yourself with all your thoughts, you're identifying yourself with the good thoughts and the bad thoughts.
Pick and choose.
That's like building with one hand and tearing down with another.
Right, I agree.
And when you identify yourself as your mind itself, you're taking all the baggage that come with that. Literally 100% baggage.
Yeah.
Unnecessary baggage and the good baggage. That's like you having a suitcase and you're ready to go to the goal that you're headed, but you're taking clothes in, but you're putting clothes out. That's all you're doing. And you ain't going away because you still putting clothes in the goddamn bag. You aren't even rolling you aren't even rolling a suitcase yet. You putting clothes in. I'm gonna put these drawers in there. All right, I'm gonna take these drawers back out. Oh no, I'm gonna put this shirt in there. Oh no, I'm gonna take this shirt back out. That's having a good thought, and that's having a bad thought.
Right.
Let me put this in. Let me take this out. Let me put this in. Let me take this out. Let me put this in. Let me take this out. But you aren't building anything. You didn't even fill the suitcase up yet. Because every thought that you thought good, you're tearing it down with that one thought. That one thought literally can ruin your whole entire life. You gotta recognize that. That one thought, that one negative thought can just literally screw up everything.
It's so important that we recognize our thoughts, because if we get ourselves caught in this negative thinking trap after something bad or what we perceive as bad happened to us, that can really bring a lot of things downhill. So it's just like you have to take the time to understand what you're thinking and why you're thinking it in the first place.
That's a good
If
one.
you don't never do that, you just gonna have anything coming in your head all the time.
You just jumping. Oh man, if I thought this must be true. That's how you think. That's how you think when you accept.
Mm-hmm.
When you think your mind is actually you, like
Right.
fool you, like, but this is my mind, and that's when that thought, damn, I must be true. Damn, I just told myself I ain't shit. That's probably fucking true.
Yeah, and like I said, it's tough because the mind makes up such a large part of who we are, but the mind isn't everything.
The mind is a great student, but a terrible master. As they always say, a great student.
Great.
You can teach your mind a lot, but for it to be your master, it can be very terrible. It can be very detrimental, because when you make your mind your master, your mind controls everything a part of your life. And that's what I mean. The reference of you are your mind is basically mean your mind is your master.
And okay, so explain that to people though. Like, okay, if we don't want our minds to be our master, then what should be our master?
What should be your master is the good thoughts that's in your mind, because the good thoughts that are in your mind is your higher self. You gotta understand that your mind is just a processor of what you're thinking. Like, how I want to say this: your mind is a tool. For one, you gotta recognize your mind as a tool.
Yes,
that's like the first step.
Your most important
tool. Your most important tool. Your mind is, for one, is a tool, right? Your mind is a tool. What does the mind love to do? It loves to think. Okay, my mind loves to think. Cool. All right, since my mind loves to think, what thoughts should I be taking more consideration of, and what thoughts should I throw out? That's called mindfulness. The higher self knows no negative thoughts. The egotistical mind thinks of negative thoughts, the worst case scenario that's going to happen.
And it'll even present those thoughts to you like it's what you need to be thinking at the time. Like a worst case scenario, like what if this terrible thing happens?
And if it does, adjust,
right,
act, and overcome.
Yeah.
If it does. If it comes, it comes. But when you become present, that hasn't even existed.
Exactly.
But when you bring those thoughts up, it can actually happen.
That's why you got to pick and choose. You got to take what's good and just leave it.
Dump the bullshit, because a lot of times we think a lot of thoughts that are completely unnecessary. When we talk about overthinkers, what helps an overthinker? Reassurance. What helps an overthinker is reassurance.
Right.
When you get enough reassurance, then they feel comfortable. But sometimes we don't need reassurance ourselves. And that's why we get stuck in the loop. We get so caught up in our thoughts. We get so caught up in the stuff that we got going on. What causes the mind to go crazy is the attention to external things outside of self.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what makes the mind go crazy. Because the mind is a physical thing. There's a difference between your brain and your mind. Your mind is something that is way deeper than conscious thought itself. Consciousness don't need thought. The mind needs thought. Consciousness is just what is. It flows confusiously. I don't even know what word I just said, but I know that's word.
I see what you was going for, though.
But I don't even know what I said, but it sounded like it made sense. I hope it made sense. Y'all probably need to look that up. I probably gotta look that up too. But that's how you know a nigga on this joint flowing, bro. Because I just said a word that actually, I think that word does exist, but I just don't even know where it ended up. How did I even figure out what the hell that word means? I don't know. It sounds like it just fits. But we just gonna continue. But yeah, but the mind flows continuously, bro. Like, you just gotta be able to identify what's your higher self and what's your egotistical mind. That's the biggest part. Yeah. You know your ego is your negative thoughts. You know your ego is your attachment. You know your higher self is your positive thoughts. Your higher self is your affirmations. Your higher self is your direction, your vision. That is your higher self. You got to recognize what your higher self is. Your higher self is you on this mountain, and you that's also below the mountain. Your higher self sees what's further along the horizon. All they are doing is directing you to where you need to be, right? And so when you become present, you begin to hear your higher self. Yeah, you can say God or subconscious mind. It goes by many terminologies, but I'm just going to say for me, I call it my higher self, because God, he said we are made in the image of God. That's spiritually. So when you think of it in that spectrum of light, if I have a vision of something, that means my true self is trying to tell me this is what's possible. You just got to listen to me. Yeah, you just gotta listen to me.
The more clear your mind is, the easier it is to hear that voice, though. Like, if your mind is always scatterbrained, you got a bunch of overstimulation happening, it's hard to hear that higher self-talk. It's hard to hear what you really feel if all you getting and all you paying attention to is all the noise. It's just distractions, bro. But once you can hear your higher self and you know what that feels like, you don't even want to go back to the other way, because you know
it's like
you got in you.
The minute you elevate, you don't lose that experience, bro. Yeah, you never lose that experience. No matter how low you get, you never lose that experience. No matter how, I'm gonna remind you again. No matter how low you get, you never truly lose that experience of what it feels like to be at a high vibration. Because once we reach at that peak, it's still more to go. Like, once we get that chapter 20, let's go to that 21.
And you just want to keep going.
And it's like I said, we live in a limited world, meaning a limited world as in the instances of, like, our physical bodies. We only have but so much time to get but so much information. Why not be considerate of the information you need to pay attention to while you're on this earth?
That's a fact.
Because it's so many books. Like, I don't realize there's so many books. Like, I don't realize how much I don't know. But I know that within this time span, I can't cram all this information, because I have to go through so many life experiences to experience all these things. But however, as I read these books, I'm mentally putting myself in those positions, or what it's like to be in those positions. And so when you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he's vividly describing everything, you're literally living through that experience from a mental standpoint, because everything is mental.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you're taking in a book and really diving deep into it, that book can change your life.
It becomes you. That book literally becomes you over time. Mm-hmm. The more you digest it, the more you become you. The more information you digest, the more... See, the people are who they are by the information that they have accumulated over time.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the information they've accumulated over a vast majority of time is why they are the way they are. Why they think the way they think. It's because of the information that has been given and provided to them.
Everybody has their own perception because of what they went through, because of what they took in, what they experienced. So it's like, okay, bet. Once you get a different type of perspective, your life automatically starts to change because your brain is changing. Then it's like, okay, bet. Let me tell my boy about this. Let me put my girl onto this. Let me pass this on to somebody else. Because it's like, once you take the time to really take that step, like I was talking about earlier, and change your perception, you can change everybody else's perception around you.
That is a fact, because energy moves like
it's
crazy. You know what I'm saying?
It's always.
But you gotta understand that even if you are high vibrational and you have your own bubble, if you're not around the right people to promote that high level energy, that high vibration, it can always be a step that you can drop. I'm telling you, because it's like, you have this high vibration. Now you got to match that energy with others that's like you, because the more you be around, because every human being has mirror neurons, and what mirror neurons is, we mirror people that we're around, the environment, the people. It molds us. So just like enforcing good habits, if you want to enforce good habits, you got to change your environment first. You got to be able to make it easier for you to do these good habits.
Absolutely. Especially when you're first starting out.
Right. You got to make it easier for yourself, because how can you expect yourself to go to the gym or stay focused? Like I told you, how organize my room. I got my anime to be authentically me so I can still be myself, but also I still got this board where I write all my goals. I have this table where I set everything up where I know when I'm sitting at this table, I know I can lock in. And so it gives me the ability to be at a smoother workflow state.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's there and it's in my environment and it's enforcing me to have a nicer or easier workflow space.
Yeah.
Compared to trying to work on something and you have too many distractions in your environment. Not to understand, one of those distractions is going to pull you away from what you need to be doing in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's distractions. I'm glad you brought that up because distractions, they come so often. Distractions are all around us, like, especially if you're not in the comfort of your own, in your own workspace where you can control the distractions. If you out doing something, you gotta do this, do that. You're going to get hit with some distractions, but it's all about how you handle them, how you manage them, how you can really minimize them as much as you can.
Bars.
For real. Minimizing distractions, whether that's like, okay, I probably shouldn't talk on the phone with this person for too long because they ain't talking about nothing. Or maybe
that's a fact.
Maybe I shouldn't watch this. Maybe I shouldn't scroll as much tonight. Maybe I don't need to smoke tonight. Like, all of those things can be forms of distraction. So if you manage them, you on the right track.
And just to feed up what you just said, we need to also bring this up. Mm-hmm. We was talking about this yesterday, and good thing that we're talking about this now because I was like, we need to say this. It's good to not do nothing.
Yeah, sometimes you have to do nothing.
Sometimes
and that's a step in itself. That's what your body needs. Sometimes it's just okay.
Just don't do shit. Just like when situations when chaos is going on around you, the best thing for you to do is do nothing. Not saying that you shouldn't act on what you need to act on.
Right.
But it's like when you do nothing, you got to say a piece because when you're trying to do something all the time, you're trying to enforce an outcome that will create more emotional distress towards yourself and ruin not only your spiritual space, but your mental space.
And sometimes you just need to figure out what to do. Like literally just
you need to stay still.
Yeah, you feel me? Meditate, clear your mind, think, journal it out, write, sit, do nothing. Either way, just slow down. Take a break, whatever you got to deal with. It ain't going nowhere until you deal with it anyway.
For sure. And it was like,
just chill for a second. You good.
Like, I'll be honest, like, shit don't move unless you move.
Not at all.
Like, shit don't move unless you move.
And
like,
sometimes it's going to sit there for a minute. Even if you do start moving, it's going to,
it's going to linger.
Feel like it's still
it's going to linger, but as long as you know you doing something about it, it's going to, that something is going to fruit into something more.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad, bro. Like, you got to understand, like, every action, every habit, every thought, it can have a huge snowball effect.
Yeah.
Whether you create good habits, you start creating more good habits because that first few couple of good habits, then you're going to start building more good habits. Like, I think first to clear someone's mental space, I think it's also really based on what they're eating first and foremost. And we was talking about yesterday about gut health.
Yeah.
A lot of times we don't have good gut health. Your gut is your first brain. If your gut ain't healthy, your mind ain't healthy.
Yeah, that goes back to health. Like,
your health matters. Like processed, I was just saying, like all this processed shit that niggas eating, like you gotta stay away from these processed foods because most of these processed, it's not natural. It's made in chemicals. You gotta beware of meat. Of course, we talked about it yesterday. I ain't gonna speak. I ain't lying. I'm not gonna, until I become more educated in that space, I'm not gonna really talk too much. I know a good chunk. I gotta tell you about Vegetation Over Medication by Dr. Bobby Price. I think you've seen the photo I sent to you. Vegetation Over Medication. That literally tells you everything about it. But I think that was like one of the biggest reasons that I recommend people to change their way of eating because when you change your eating habits, I'm telling you, your mind is going to naturally change. It's going to naturally, it's going to naturally change. You
improve your food, you improve your body and everything.
And then your capabilities of doing the things that you need to do is 10 times folded. It goes way beyond. No one knows what it truly means to feel good. Like really good.
Everybody has their own.
You know what I'm saying? No one really knows what it truly. We feel the synthetic good from them synthetic foods that spikes our dopamine and all this other stuff. You know, I'm saying some real shit. We eat a lot of stuff that spikes our dopamine. It may feel good, but then your dopamine drops and you want to get that dopamine kick again. So you go back and eat those same foods to get the dopamine increase, and it drops again. And so now
you gotta get natural dopamine
because people don't understand that. Let's just go on the health perspective. Serotonin is created in the gut. Most people don't know that.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Your serotonin is the happiness chemical.
Right.
It's crazy. So this is why a lot of people be struggling with depression, because their gut isn't good. You can work out and still be a healthy motherfucker.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Like you gonna be in the gym 25-8, fit, everything. But if that gut ain't good, your mind ain't good. Why you think there's some people who 600 Breezy, right? For example, and rest in peace to his girlfriend that had passed away. Also, this was like over a year ago. Because I actually want to brush across this real quick. She was a person that was, going out in the gym and all this stuff. I'm just looking from the outside and from what I know, right? From what was being shown. She was working in the gym and all this other stuff, but she was still depressed. You gotta take consideration. What was she doing in between that time frame to still make her depressed? You gotta what she was giving, what was she giving to her body to make us see? Food plays a huge impact on the mind, because the minute you eat food, those minerals and those nutrients, it breaks down, it goes into your brain.
Yeah.
So now if you're eating synthetic foods that aren't real, now your body trying to realize, all right, what is this? I can't use this for anything. Right. Literally, your body is naturally intelligent. But like I said, this is not a health podcast. This is self-development podcast. So yeah, low health is going to be thrown in that. But yeah, so like I said, most people don't know that. Like, dopamine comes from the brain, serotonin comes from the gut. If your serotonin, that's why I promote men to go on semen retention. I like to, I'm a huge semen. I've witnessed benefits of doing this shit. I'm doing it as we speak. Semen retention. This is why I'm able to get the fuck up in the morning. I got that ample energy, especially if you know what I'm saying, sprinkle a little bit on this. Especially if you're not releasing the proper way. Because if you're going to release, you might as well release on, you know what I'm saying, chick, I'm just saying, because that's a healthier way of doing it.
For sure.
Especially, you got to understand what the amount of energy that's being recuperated back and forth. So you could be releasing, and that energy is not being recuperated. You could be dealing with a Jezebel. Jezebel is people that take energy and don't give you back energy. It's a little different when you're in a relationship where energy is always being reciprocated. Yeah. It's way, different. But that's mentally, physically, even sexually. You feel me? When that energy is being consistently reciprocated, then you never really feel, drained out.
Yeah, that's a fact. When you have somebody who's obviously, how can I say it, censored. Somebody who you appreciate physically, but you also have somebody who adds to your mental and adds to your spiritual, then you check all the boxes.
Right, that's a fact. So, like I said, I just want to sprinkle on that because there's a lot of, guys that struggle with pornography. And that is literally, that damages the brain. Most people don't really realize that when you watch a lot of pornography, it damages the brain. It decreases your serotonin and it also decreases your dopamine. It increases your dopamine, my bad. It increases your dopamine and decreases your serotonin. This is why a lot of guys, they release, they go to the club. Go at that shorty real quick. They done got their fix when they was in the house. I mean, that's some real. They done got their fix in the crib. So now they don't want to approach this young lady. They over here, they having this level of shyness. There's some people that's naturally shy, of course. And then there's no problem in that. But there are some people who deals with social anxiety because that testosterone or that masculine energy is what helps you to approach women. Once again, we had to sprinkle a little bit on this dating stuff. All this is just in a big sector. This is just in a big, you get a little bit of health, you got a little bit of presence. You know what I'm saying? Then you get a little bit of dating stuff. But most people don't really realize that though. But like I said, when you doing that shit like every day, boy, you go out there, you try to approach a woman, you putting shorty on this pedestal like, goddamn, like,
hey, you are comedy, bro.
No, some real shit, bro. Like, you gotta understand, bro. Like, your testosterone comes with your semen.
Yeah.
You understand how you working your body over its maximum. You releasing a lot, your body's still steady trying to produce all that you just done lost.
You gotta keep your energy.
And so now you could try to reproduce all that you lost and you eating bad food too. That's double the trouble right there.
Yeah.
And then now your mental ain't right. You figuring out you can't build no muscle in the gym. You done lost all your testosterone. Your testosterone plays a huge factor in you building your muscles. Huge. You know what I'm saying? But we'll save that for another podcast. I might even do like a separate, I might even go through it's literally a whole list of benefits of semen retention. But I might just do I don't know if I'm going to do it with a guest or I'm going to just do it separately in my room. But that's something I definitely want to talk about. But however, let's get back to this. This is a good question. How can being present help us achieve a better work-life balance?
So when you're present, it's a lot easier to take a break. When you're not present, you want to keep working. You're focused on the goal. You focus on what you didn't do yesterday. You're constantly trying to get stuff done. But if you are genuinely present, you say, okay, let me just relax for a second. Let me turn the switch off. And in a world of, like we said earlier, instant gratification, constant overstimulation, you're always seeing something. We always feel like we got to get, we got to go, we got to do, we got to have, we got to just keep going. But it's like you will be able to go at such a more steady pace if you take the time to just quiet everything down.
You think that's attachment to the outcome?
Absolutely. It has to be. That's what we're going. That's what, you feel me? That's what you want. That's what you want to have. That's who you want to be. That's where you want to live. All of those things is just attachment to the goal.
I think a lot of us guys, we struggle with that a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Most people, like we were talking about yesterday. This is part of having a really healthy relationship, because us guys, testosterone gets you up and going. It's what gives you the drive and motivation to get shit done. Right. And so when you have that, so much of that shit pent up, we can literally operate like motorboats and not stop. Literally, like we'll literally keep running until that goddamn gas is out that fucking car, bro. We'll keep running. Like even if the gas is on E, that motherfucker got the dash. This shit on like 2 miles, boy. We will run that bitch till 0 until that motherfucker gas give out.
Yeah, and that's not always the best thing to do, though. That's the thing. Like I said, sometimes you gotta to preserve your, not even preserve, but to, how can I say it, to control your mental energy and your physical energy. Sometimes you just dead ass gotta take a break. Like you really gotta.
How long do a person need to take a break, though?
That's up to you. That's where the awareness comes in. You'll be able to feel like, okay, maybe I don't need to chill the whole day, but let me just take an off day from the gym today. Let me not call this person today. Let me do this today.
I definitely do that, because like the little Planet Fitness joint. Like the little, because like I said, I tell you, like I said, I'm glowing about that, because that was something I never was ever to be consistently doing, and now I'm getting up 5 a.m. doing it, and it's like it can be difficult on some days. But when I look at that goal board, and I will probably do an Instagram post on this, I would like show a little bit of a video of like on an average like scheduled day of mine to give people like a little bit of insight. Maybe they can go off of what maybe I do, and they could probably schedule their little personal day. But there are a few things to help a person to personally go on a regular basis. You have to worry about your physical health. You have to worry about, not worry, because worry is a bad word to say. Focus on, right? You have to focus on your physical health, because your physical health is what's going to produce what you need to produce as the overall desired outcome. So you need to make sure that you have optimal health to even get the things that you need to get done.
Exactly.
And like I said, that comes with food, that comes with working out. Those both play hand in hand, because when you go to the gym, you're strengthening the mind. That you're strengthening that discipline.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. You're getting, like, most people go to the gym and they think about the overall outcome, like, I'm going to get big, but they don't think about the mental benefits of going to a gym.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Not even just lifting, exercise in general is probably the best stress reliever for damn near everybody. Like just relieving stress alone, you'll get done with a workout and feel like a whole new person. And like you said, the discipline piece. You can get up and go to the gym every morning at 5 or whatever time you choose to go. That automatically makes you better in other areas of your life, because it's all the same. Bro. Discipline is transferable. You can transfer your discipline in the weight room to transferring your discipline to your job, to your business you're trying to grow, to invest in, your money habits, your relationship, whatever you're trying to do, you can just transfer the discipline to somewhere else. So I think, definitely the stress relief that exercising gives, and then the discipline part too.
Yeah, discipline.
Bro.
Yeah, discipline is a good majority of your life what you need to be.
Yeah,
good majority. You have to be disciplined to rest too.
Absolutely.
You have to be disciplined. It's like there's no way, because like people don't understand that. A lot of us are disciplined, but we're disciplined in the wrong areas. We're disciplined with unhealthy habits. We don't recognize that though.
Yeah, you have.
That's just a form of discipline. When you are able to consistently do an unhealthy habit, that's discipline.
Not the right.
Not the right. That's unconscious discipline, right? The conscious discipline is when you like no one never. It's truly hard to do the right thing, but the right thing comes with the best benefits, and most people don't really take consideration of that. Like you may not want to go to the gym, but the benefits that you're going to have is going to be amazing.
Yeah, everybody wants a shortcut. Everybody wants a quick fix. Everybody wants to just sweep it under the rug. No, but it's nothing like the true work, the true grind, really getting in there. Getting in.
I be hating. Look, dog, on some real shit. I be hating that shit when I be going to Instagram. They be promoting the motherfucking ab joints. The little ab joint, they be saying you can get abs in about you can get abs in about 3 days. You just shake your goddamn stomach and shit. Shit don't be doing the goddamn thing. You ain't wasting your goddamn money, boy.
That ain't working.
You ain't gonna get the best results by actually showing up. Look, your best ability is your availability. Double A. Your best ability is your availability. When you're able to be available, like people don't understand how powerful attendance is. Attendance is powerful.
Yeah.
When you could come and get it done.
That's a fact.
That's a power. That's a superpower. That's a superpower that not a lot of people don't have. At least for yourself.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people they get good attendance at a job, but they won't get a good attendance on themselves.
Yeah, they won't give that same attendance.
They won't get that same type of energy to themselves. So when you were saying earlier, like you got to show for yourself, that's a very powerful thing. You got to bet on yourself a lot of times too, because no one else is going to bet on you. You are your first investor. You must invest in yourself. What is the best investment? Self-investment, because that's going to give you the best return.
You got to be your first investor and your biggest fan.
Biggest fan. If nobody else ain't gonna root for you, you better be doing it.
Nobody gonna cheer for you till you start clapping for yourself.
And this is when you start using presence. When you become present, when you start cheering for you and becoming present, this is when people start to become present with you. They start to say, I wanna be a part of that. What he's building. Exactly. He's building something.
Exactly.
He's building. I see something. I want to be a part of that, because now they see the presence within you. They say, "Man, I gotta get with that."
Yeah, they can feel it.
I gotta get with that.
People not blind. They know what success look like. Like they can see it. They know what presence
look
like.
They see it, bro.
Like your stuff, people see that.
And like most people don't realize, like some people feel like they're never seen, bro. You're always seen, bro. Everybody is always watching.
Just because you're acknowledged doesn't mean you're not seen.
Right.
And regardless of what that applies to, just because people see it doesn't always mean they're going to acknowledge you, but that's fine because you're doing your part anyway.
The same young lady that you like looking at your IG story, see you grind. That same young lady that you like, that you haven't approached, you went on a couple of dates and the shit just went flop. Maybe sometimes it's not you. Sometimes it's not them either. Sometimes y'all just don't mesh, or y'all didn't give yourself enough time to mesh. Let's just say that, because y'all would have been a good couple. Y'all just did. You might have been in a different state of mind, because you might have been trying to hit. You might have gave off that type of energy. Let's keep it, because that also could run people away too. That was just a side note. I don't think I was supposed to say that, but I just let that shit come out. But that same person that, you know what I'm saying, that's watching, they watching you. You know what I'm saying? They watching your moves. But don't let them watching your moves make you become egotistical. Oh, damn, she watching my IG, so now I gotta go harder. Go at your own pace. Because at the end of the day, that same person that's looking at you working is not doing the work for you.
Yeah, you the only one doing the work.
So you know what I'm saying? Literally, it's just you. You're the only one that's literally putting in emotion. And if they're not playing a part of that, they need to go. 100%. Yeah. If they're not helping to improve whatever lifestyle that you want, or if they're not on the same type of time you want, they don't need to be there, because a lot of times we deal with people that we feel like it's in our best interest, or we feel the key word, feel like. What we feel like are in our best interest, but not in our best interest. We stick around those, we cling on to those, because my homie, he helped me during these bad times, but he's still struggling. He ain't even trying to get himself up.
Right, doing the same thing.
You know what I'm saying? So it's more so an emotion of, when you become present, you start to see people who they truly are too.
Absolutely.
That is actually an honest truth.
You're able to understand people a lot more clearly. You're able to see things for what they are. You're able to not be manipulated. You're able to see why people think the things they do. You just become a better people person overall.
Because you start to look at it in a mindset of, I take everything you say for face value. Everything you're talking about right now, I'm just going to assume that's actually you.
Right.
And it sounds harsh to say that to some people, but if someone's you'll want to be around people that's authentically them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Every time you walk into someone or get in a conversation with someone, your mindset is not is they fake or not. Your mindset is I'm expecting this person to be authentically them, whether it's good or bad. And if you show me that you're a bad person, I'm gonna just assume, yeah, you ain't this, fam. Hey, you ain't this.
Yeah, people gonna reveal themselves over time. People always reveal themselves.
All right, we're gonna go with a few more questions, and we're gonna wrap this up. Because I honestly gotta say, this was honestly amazing podcast. I think how everything was structured and how everything. I really didn't really need a lot of these questions.
Yeah,
I got a lot of these, like, because I read a lot of them, and like I said, I didn't even get to half of the stuff that we was discussing. Like, honestly, I'm impressed. Like this, I gotta say that I might be gloating about this, but this probably, I always say it like in every podcast, like this is gonna be a great podcast. But I ain't came in with no expectation. I think because we came in, we light up that good old sage.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? We light up that good old sage, and we light some incense. And I think this whole podcast honestly became a vibe. And I think we said a lot of stuff that people really needed to hear. And I think you could feel the authenticity in the conversation because none of it's staged.
Yeah,
that's one. None of it's staged. I got questions written down. I mean, you can see I got like endless questions like written down, but I haven't fully like went through everything. But I'm gonna ask you some 100 shit right now. Can the pursuit of future goals and ambitions coexist harmoniously with the practice of being present in the present moment? Can being in the future and being here coexist with one another if the whole objective is to be present?
So when you're taking steps towards that goal in the future, the action is done right now. So it's not, I wouldn't say coexisting with the future, because at the end of the day, you probably won't get what you want exactly how you see it in your mind. Just because you want it, like however you see yourself getting it, doesn't mean that's how it's going to play out in your life. But when you're taking the actions towards that future goal, then you're creating the future right now. So it's not coexisting because it's not, you feel me, it's not the same, but at the same time, you're preparing for that. You're building towards that, whatever it is you want.
All right. This was a question that you want me to bring up before, because I actually just remembered it now. I think this is the right time to say it. So to people who really got like a lot of shit going on, I was telling them who got a lot of shit going on, like, I'm going to play devil's advocate. Like I said, this is the devil advocate question. If I have so much going on, how the hell can I, because I know my present moment is fucked up. Like, I have this going on, I have this going on, I have this going on. How can I be comfortable with chaos?
You have to start with your environment for one. And for some people, I understand it's a lot easier said than done. But let's be for real, a lot of the things we talked about in general have been a lot easier said than done, because this is a journey. This is all a process. Just because you start meditating or you start cutting people off doesn't mean that you automatically going to achieve everything the next day. It doesn't work like that. But if you know you're around chaos, whatever chaos looks like for you, whatever a disturbance looks like for you, if you know you're around that, you have to do whatever you can to either one, get away from it, or two, minimize it to the biggest number that you can think of. You have to minimize it in the maximal capacity, because if you don't, it's going to continue to happen over and over and over again. Whatever that chaos looks like, whatever the disturbance looks like, is obviously different for different people. But I think the first step is to simply do what you can to minimize the time from it or get away from it altogether.
Okay, so give me an example. What was a time that you had to do that for yourself to get yourself in that same position? Get out of that position like that.
Moving back to Virginia. Definitely moving back to Virginia. So, very, 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 very long story short, I was in Michigan for a while, played college basketball, career-ending injury. And after that, like I said earlier, I'm just trying to find my steps. So I got hurt in 2019. I didn't move back until 2022. But the whole time after I got hurt, right around COVID, really when I started this whole personal development journey, I'm like, okay, let me just let me just start to grow. Let me see what I can do. Because you feel me? I'm not hooping no more. I'm not in school, dropped out of college. So it's like, all right, let me see what I can do.
I ain't know you dropped out. Boy.
Yeah.
That's new. I ain't know that.
Dropped out, bro. So I start reading, I start meditating, I start doing all these different things. And I'm looking around me and it's like, nobody else doing this with me. Like, not in my environment, not in my physical circle. Nobody else is on this type of time. So I'm like, interesting. And I'm not the type of person, I'm not just going to force it on you. If you come to me and you want some information, yeah, we can chop it up, we can talk about it, but I'm just not going to be like, yo, I really think you need to read this book. I really think you need to. If I see you not already moving in that direction, I'm not going to force it on you. Honestly, that's just how I've been for the majority of my life. But I see all these people around me and they're just not doing the same things I'm doing, and it bothered me for a while. Honestly, I'm just like, damn, this don't even. This
shit not adding up.
Yeah, months going on, years going by, and it's just not. It just don't feel right. Like I'm just like, nah, I don't need to be here no more. I'm ready to move. I'm ready to go. And sure enough, November last year, and when I ended up moving back to Virginia, and was just like, okay, enough is enough. It's time to dip. So, and that's why I say you have to either minimize the time you're around all these people. I spend so much time with myself, like hours out the day alone in the room, go to work, come back, go to the gym, not really talk to nobody. Like, as the journey got more evolved and more just elevated, I was like, I don't even want to be in this environment no more. Like, I'm better off keeping this energy to myself.
But like, all right, so we're going to play devil advocate again. To those who are uncomfortable with isolation, how do they handle that? Because everybody can't deal with isolation like you can. Well, I can, because I'm cool with being by myself, because I feel like being by myself is the time where I most learn myself, because those are the times where I'm taking out a notepad and I'm studying me.
Right.
And let's bring this up again. You got people that know more about Cardi B than they know about themselves. You got people out here that can name their top 5 rappers, but they don't know the top 5 core values they stand on. How does being present relate to personal growth and self-awareness?
So I think it really touches on what we were talking about earlier about gaining the awareness of where you need to correct yourself, gaining the awareness of what you need to know, what information you don't know that you could learn. So when you're present, it's gonna automatically lead to you. It's automatically gonna lead to your personal growth journey, because you're taking the time to know where your rights are, you're taking the time to know where your wrongs are, and you're just aware enough to say, okay, let's go this way now. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's take this action. Read this book. Talk to this person. Meditate more. And you see how you're feeling as a result. So now the journey is evolving. You're at a higher level. You're moving at a faster pace, a better rate, if you want to call it that. So just being present along the journey makes it easy for you, but not even just you. It makes it easy for the people around you to communicate with you. It's easier for you to listen. It's easier for you to want to express yourself. It's easier for you to conversate. All of those things are a part of your personal growth journey as well. Personal growth isn't just reading books and writing and meditating. It's about life overall. Those things are tools to help you get there. But in the grand scheme of things, personal growth is the personal journey that you're on in life.
That's definitely a very that's a profound answer. I ain't gonna lie to you. So imagine if you was working at a job, right? You're working at a 9-to-5 job, and the job is stressing you out, right? You got a whole bunch of stress. I guess I don't know if this is really a question, but there are times where your physical body can prevent you from being present. What I mean is, you're so physically stressed that you're like, I'm just trying to hurry and get home, but you're not being present. Mm-hmm. So how can a person can start to correct those type of mannerisms? Because it's like, we all been through that. All right, I can give you an example. When I used to work at my job in the warehouse, it's probably been over a year now since I've been at that warehouse. They used to work the shit out of me. All right. I'll be honest, they used to work the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And every time I walked in that bitch, and I used to be working like hell. Because I was so physically drained, it kept me away from being present. It's like, it steered me away from like, what the fuck is going on now? It's like, I'm thinking about, I'm so drained, I'm so battered, I'm so beaten. How can I be present?
You have to find something. It's the answer to everything. And I might, for myself personally, I got to bring it back to meditation. If I got a job that's stressing me out like that, on my break, I'm meditating. I'm taking 5 minutes. The physical pain might not be no less, but if you just taking the time, oh, I'm in so much pain. Oh my gosh, I'm tired. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. If you spend your breaks like that, that's not going to help. Meditation at least gives you a chance to say, okay, at least my mind is calm. I've calmed down. I've collected, even if it's just a little bit. I feel a little bit better. Or maybe you don't. But like I said, either way, meditation always gives you a chance to feel better. If you don't meditate, you don't have a chance because you're not doing anything to correct your thought patterns. And physical pain is tough to deal with because it's not mental. You can feel it hurts. Like, ain't no, like, it hurts. Like, you can't, ain't no ducking that. Ain't no avoiding that. But it's like, okay, it hurts, but how do I deal with it? I know it hurts. Okay, now what? Am I going to sit around telling myself how bad it hurts? What does that do? Or am I going to look for ways to feel better? Am I going to attempt to feel better? Talk to somebody that'll make me feel better? There's an answer for everything, and it's a solution for everything. It takes a little while to find it, but it's there.
I swear, I should have went. I know. We put way past the time. Because I was like, damn. When you kept saying self-expression, it makes me want to break up all the unhealthy self-expression ways that people does. But I think we just gonna save that.
Yeah,
we just gonna save that. Because I think now I'm starting to feel like all the energy is like it was good. Like, not saying the whole podcast was fine, but now it's like I done gave all my energy now because I'm present. I'm feeling that.
Yeah,
let's tie that in real quick because I'm present. I'm feeling that. I put all the energy. I think all the authenticity of the whole conversation just went right into here, and I think this is what makes it a amazing podcast.
And that's good. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So, but we go ahead and wrap everything up, man. Let them know where they can find you.
Y'all can follow me on Instagram, q.green. Snapchat, higher frequency, but when it's frequency, it's FREQUINCY. Y'all can add me on Snap, add me on IG. Appreciate you for having me, bro.
Of course.
Always a pleasure, man. I appreciate the words that you give me, all the wisdom, all the encouragement. So,
likewise, man. You know, we have leader mentors. You're a leader, but you're also my mentor in the same token. You know what I'm saying? You're around the right people. They're not only the people that mentor you, but they're also the leaders too, and they don't like. So
yeah,
I don't look at people who I could coexist with or talk to. I'm also learning from these people too, and so whatever knowledge that I'm speaking with these people with, knowledge is always exchanged. Whether if I'm the one or whether we both exchanging, or you just exchanging, I'm listening, or I'm exchanging, you listening, vice versa. It's both a learning experience.
Yeah.
So
yes, sir.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. For the most part, I'm going to definitely keep that. But I was hoping that they didn't come through, and they came in through right when we were meditating. Hopefully, it didn't mess up anything or mess up anyone's guided meditation. Sorry about that. But however, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. This is on all platforms, the Unknown Minds Podcast. You can find me on YouTube at the Unknown Minds Podcast, Apple, Spotify, same thing. And Instagram is at the Unknown Minds Podcast. Once again, this is a self-development podcast. This is here to improve you, to elevate your span of life. And remind you, we come on this podcast, we aren't experts. Let's just put that out there. We are not experts, all right? We are in a consistent learning process. We also self-develop, and like y'all are too. We're just giving you the game of knowledge that we know, and maybe the knowledge that we give to y'all probably can help y'all in some way or fashion. So I just want to tell you guys that, like I said, we aren't pros, we aren't experts. We are just like you. We are evolving, we are growing, we growing together. That's literally the whole objective, is to grow together. We make these podcasts so you can grow and we can grow too. And you give us what you think about these podcasts so this platform can grow. So we learn how to give you guys more value, more wisdom, more knowledge for y'all to expand your minds, because we want to be able to expand your mind, be able to see different perspectives and things of that nature. So, as I end every podcast, faith plus great work ethic creates vulnerable opportunity. It's the same thing I've been saying for about 2 to 3 years now.
Yeah.
Faith plus great work ethic creates vulnerable opportunity, and we catch you guys later. Peace.